G'day guys, CW here from the land down under. Once again, we've had let's say, an eventful week in crypto. Just have to say, hope you're all managing your risks accordingly. We've got the weekly developer update going on, and joining me here once again is Armeanio. So welcome, mate.
It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, crazy week. You know, it's I don't know what to say other than we look at the base layers of these systems and it's like, okay, well, what are the attack vectors, right? Because we're trying to build systems that, essentially the attack vectors, the assumptions are known and they're built to be resilient, right? Yep. That's critical to the long-term survival of every single network. Now, apparently, some of these DeFi schemes are not built with that consideration in mind. Yeah. And I think that hopefully this gets people to wake up a little bit and say, okay, well, on top of the assumptions we need to make about the security of the network itself, what assumptions do we need to make about, each DeFi protocol, and what are the edges of the DeFi protocol, and does it have guardrails, or is it one of these things where you can potentially see billions of dollars lost, and that's terrible because
I'm sure as well.
Yeah, there's a ton of people out there that bought into some really well-designed marketing, and it's sad to see that type of damage to retail.
Yeah, not wrong. I think they just get lured in, like you said, with the flashy lights and all the marketing and everything, but then also the APY figures. So it's all well and good while it's going up, but if there's a downturn, then things can get ugly pretty quickly.
They unwind as fast as they wind up, and in this case, a lot faster.
Yeah.
Sad to see. I hope it's a wake-up call. Now so. Dogecoin is still in the top 10, so let's see. Maybe not, but
I was scrolling through the top 100 actually this morning, and there's quite a few in there that are quite questionable on their rankings, I would say.
It's sex and hype, I guess, but ultimately risk assumptions are going to be what protects every person, whether it's from the network being exploited directly or applications on top of the network. So, it's fascinating to me how, we always have these type of discussions, proof of work, proof of stake, and what are the potential risk vectors, and, which one is superior. But then when it comes to applications on top of the actual network, all of that seems to just go away.
Yeah. And it's sad.
That's ultimately going to be what we need to really promote in order to protect investors, protect retail.
Yeah, I was reading the manifesto again this morning, and there's a snippet in there about the history of the markets from basically 2017 and the ICO mania, et cetera, and lo and behold, it's all played out again, which is pretty unfortunate.
Well, it's one of those things. History has a tendency to rhyme. The reality is there's always going to be predatory schemes out there. Mm-hmm. And, to some degree, I think that the whole crypto boom that we've seen in the last year really does rhyme with what happened in Ethereum, where we had all of these new networks with all of these new tokens and projects on top of them. And while it does, elevate some people's financial position, it also tends to leave mass carnage.
Well, yeah, that's the nature of markets, isn't it? You're taking from one to give to another.
It's a zero-sum game. So I hope that, especially with ErgoHack DeFi, we start asking the right questions in terms of assumptions. That way, at least people go into things understanding what the risks are. I know that Alex is actually working on document called KYA, Know Your Assumptions. Yep. That's actually been in motion for a long time. It's just everybody's too busy to finish it.
Yeah, well, I remember you had the little quiz going on Reddit there for a little while. That was some time ago, yeah, you were saying.
That was some time ago. It's kind of got dropped. Maybe we should have done that. Hopefully it would have helped somebody out there. But I think moving forward, that needs to be a conversation that ecosystems beyond Ergo even start having.
Oh, most definitely. Ultimately, we have to protect the retail investor. And yeah, we don't want to see this stuff happening because you're ruining people's lives.
Well, the biggest value in Dogecoin is the community.
Yeah.
The biggest value in Ergo is the community. It's not just, the technology and, the development team and the market access. It's the community itself. So, the more we can do to educate the community, the better.
Yeah, for sure. So on ErgoHack, so what's your view on the latest happenings? I see there's a couple of little proposals going forward, and yeah, people are getting stuck in. It's good to see.
It's good to see people are getting to work. It's still early, in terms of seeing where things end up, but certainly there's a pretty broad spectrum of proposals, projects. So I'm pretty excited to see where everything ends up. It's one of those things where sometimes we see projects that kind of drop. Sometimes we see projects that complete something by the end. And sometimes we see people that spawn an idea, and, ErgoLend is a good example. I believe they just had their initial drop on ErgoPad. I haven't, directly been following that, but I think that's amazing. That's something that was just born from the community getting together to build stuff.
Yeah, I actually just had a Ergo space with the guys actually rolling out and doing a pilot in Africa. So that was really interesting to hear some of their aspects in regards to who it's going to benefit, etc. They're really excited, and just been following a Telegram channel with those guys talking with the developers. They're just nutting everything out, and both sides are sort of saying what they want to add and what they want to see. It's great.
PDP, man, if we can get rid of some predators in the middle, that I'm all for it. I'm a big fan of what Chris Ray has been trying to put together.
Oh,
so I'm excited to watch how that progresses.
Yeah, for sure.
So you want to hop into the update, see what the devs have been doing?
Let's kick it off. So do you want to take this first one, mate?
Sure. Looks like we're getting a new Ergo improvement proposal, 0032. It looks like it's going to be a way to attach private messages in transactions. Now, in terms of how this plays out, I actually haven't dug into it. It may be something that requires a full node, maybe not. I need to actually kind of look into it more. But
I had a quick read at the GitHub, and I could understand the actual basic concepts. But yeah, once we got into the nuts and bolts, it lost me.
Well, this is something that exists. Actually, one of our partners in the BPSAA, Conceal, has a messaging system, and theirs is actually pretty well done. I'm kind of a fan of that little privacy coin. They're doing neat things, and actually, one of the neater aspects of encrypted messages, I've heard of people on their network essentially storing information like passwords type thing on their network using their messaging service. So I'm kind of curious to see how this develops, because potentially it is a way to not only communicate in a secure way, but maybe it will lead to the ability to store information in a secure way, and that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, that's an interesting concept. So you could basically have two wallets or something and send a message to the other wallet, and there it's stored, encrypted.
Yeah.
The potential for a lot of this technology is crazy, isn't it?
It really is. Once you have a solid foundation, you can build a lot of neat things.
Yeah. So that's that one. Let's roll down to MrStahlfelge. Stahlfelge. I keep tripping up on that one.
That's all right. I did for months.
So he's just doing a little bit of maintenance and cleaning up of the UIs and a few little other fixes. which will roll out in 1.0 for 1.1, sorry, for the Ergo wallet. Then on to Ilya. He's getting stuck into the Explorer again. So what's he doing with that? Is he modularizing the Explorer? Is he for dApps? Is it something along those lines?
Yeah, basically the Explorer is already kind of separated into different layers, but he's optimizing it. I believe he passed it to Nemo, who in the hackathon is going to build a new GraphQL service. Essentially, we're going to get alternative Explorer builds. Long term, the ideal is that if I'm going to build a dApp on a network, I'm going to host the infrastructure that supports the dApp. So, I'm going to have kind of the calls that are needed, handled kind of on my end. That is something that our ecosystem really needs to encourage. I know that ErgoPad has already hosting their own Explorer instance. ErgoDex is hosting their own Explorer instance. And I believe the goal, at least with that one hackathon project, is to create a newer build that's probably, GraphQL is just more common than our current Explorer setup. So it makes dApp developers, it just makes them easier to host their own infrastructure. And, what does that mean? It means the user experience is improved. If you're going to use public infrastructure on the Explorer, you really have to be careful in terms of the type of calls you make and, how much you kind of beat it to hell. So there have been a couple of times where, the Explorer is kind of getting denial of service attacked, for lack of a better word. It's organic. Yeah, it's organic. It's just traffic. But ideally, as our network grows, decentralizes, people start hosting more of their own infrastructure. And that just makes the network more resilient.
Yeah, for sure. And then the devs are a little bit more familiar with the GraphQL as well.
Also looks like there's a little bit happening in ErgoDex price charts, huh?
Yeah, price charts. That'll be interesting. There's a couple of sort of community Gits that have those available, but to have it native in the Dex itself, yeah, that'd be great. And then just fixing some issues that they've popped up on the Cardano testnet as well. Then on to one of our ErgoHack participants, Swamp Audio. So getting into the back end and front end stuff, I think they're actually looking for a developer as well.
Yeah, if there's anybody out there that's interested, that'd be pretty nice. That's one thing, NFTs have in a way surprised me. I can say that in my life, I've bought a lot more music than I have art. That's, I don't know if that's common. I would imagine so, at least,
Physical art, I'm big advocate for physical art myself. On the music side of things, there's other ways to acquire music, I guess.
Sure, but even like concerts, I'd much rather tend to go to like a music concert than a museum. Maybe that's 100%, me, but
definitely.
But the NFT space in terms of audio is somewhat neglected, in my opinion. I would love to see that grow and have a kind of a grassroots community develop around that. I know there have been a couple of artists that have played with the auction house and played with a couple of things, but in terms of like the net potential, I think it's something that really has an area to grow.
Yeah, and just in regards to that developer, looking for a front end dev. So anyone out there, jump in. Luivatra, you want to take Louis?
Sure. Looks like he's adjusted the ErgoPad staking contracts for the needs of Paideia. Did I say that right?
I think that's how I pronounce it. I'm sure we're wrong.
Okay. Close enough.
Yeah.
Looks like there's no early unstaking penalty, and it's possible to add tokens to an existing stake box. That's going to be big. I'm quite curious to see how Paideia comes out and who builds on it, because that does take a layer of complexity that comes with creating something on top of Ergo and just streamlines it.
Yeah, I remember seeing the video, I think it was from Marty when they introduced Padea, and basically it's just a checkbox. Basically, you run your way through and you can pick your own tokenomics and everything like that, your governance models, and yeah, it's just a framework there ready to rock and roll.
And it's like WordPress for DAOs.
Yeah, basically. Hopefully we see it utilized.
I'm curious. I'm sure that they'll have some crazy things come out of it, but it certainly offers a path to solid builds to really optimize, coming to market. That can be complex. A lot of thinking has to go into saying, okay, how do you make something sustainable?
Yeah, most definitely. So that's all that Louis is on to. Curbside Prophet. I've actually been following this in Discord, actually. So the little group of people are over there figuring out how to get the node, etc., running on Raspberry Pis. So it's taking a fair bit of work, but I think they've actually figured it out as of this morning. So he's been testing the Ergo mixer. I've run a couple of instances of there a while ago now, but that basically runs on there pretty easily. Just point it to a public node and away it goes. He's having some trouble with the ErgoDex off-chain bots running on the Pi. Just trying to figure that out at the moment. But then also, yeah, just like I said, with the node 4.0.27, they've actually got it running now. So he's using a Pi 4 with 4 gig of RAM. There's obviously the 8 gig RAM versions available. So that might speed up things a little bit with the 32 gig micro SD cards. But it seems to sync a lot faster with the 256 micro SD memory or RAM, memory, sorry. So it's great to see people getting nodes and everything on those such simple infrastructure.
Yeah, so those are neat little devices. If that comes out, I hope we see some community tutorials and just the ability to run your own node in kind of a low cost environment like that is just awesome.
Yeah, well, just as you say that, he's put up a Discord post. I think it's on GitHub as well. Just a little tutorial on how to get the node running headlessly. So hey, that'd be fun. I'm looking forward to trying that out next week, actually.
Well, you have a Pi?
Yeah, I do. I actually had the node running on there. I think it was 0.14 version for the node. And then when I think it clicked over to 15, it just wouldn't sync for some reason. And then, started out this build and everything else along those lines. And it kind of just got lost and the poor little thing's been neglected in the room behind me.
Well, hopefully when we get the full Nepopal bootstrap, we're going to see times a lot faster than 33 hours.
Yeah, touch wood. So Louis just got another little update. He's created a PR for EIP4 in regards to utility tokens. I think Nemo actually commented on that one as well. So it's just using registers or existing registers. So MHS Sam?
Sure. Looks like Susy contracts and codes are being tested and verified. I know that's something that's been built in pieces, and it looks like it's coming together and going through the initial alpha testing. They're going to do a real-life test between EVM chain, probably Ethereum and Ergo, on test nets. So that means that the infrastructure is deployed enough that they're going to start, essentially testnet. Now, I do think that we'll probably see Susy. It's still in development, so that's great to see. For a while, that other side was busy with other things, so we kind of got on hold and we rotated into Rosen, which MHS has been working on bridge infrastructure for quite a while, months, and the Susy team, had some issues before that it was the wormhole framework that got exploited. But all of that, work effort process led to Rosen, which is kind of the ergo-centric bridge, trying to decentralize trust assumptions and make things a little bit easier to understand in terms of the security of the bridge. Yeah. I'm sure that once the tokenomics are released, we'll get into the staking, slashing, vesting side of things. For now, it looks like the Ergo contracts and documents are available. It looks like the Cardano side is in motion. You can create a transaction, reach consensus, and sign using a threshold signature. Looks like there's some issues with the Cardano's Java library, which they're working on. It's exciting to see. So, that's probably going to be the first bridge that's up, I would imagine. But, those two things are happening in parallel, and it's, not say a race, but, MHS is the winner because he's building both.
Yeah, I had a look at the documentation, actually, just briefly. I was only a scan through, and there's some tokenomics updates and things on there, so I'll have to get stuck into that one and read through it a little bit more thoroughly.
Also, looks like he's got an update on the profit sharing DApp, which is actually a really potentially, the profit sharing DApp is a really interesting way to build multiple business structures into smart contracts. I'm curious to see how it plays out, and in like a traditional project, there are certain things that you really have to be hands off about because you can potentially cross into the foggy line that says this thing is a security, right? Yeah. But to some degree, using the profit sharing DApp, you have the ability to create trustless systems that, distribute perhaps fees or revenue, and that's going to be really interesting to see how that develops.
So just in a nutshell, how does a profit sharing DApp work?
Sure. If you were to open it and read through it, I believe there are like 7 or 8 different specific use cases where, in some cases it may be distributing fees as an example, or, it's kind of like a core tool for building business on top of Ergo. So it's something that at this point we haven't seen too much development on top of it, but it actually is quite unique in terms of, it's flexible and kind of goes through the different contract models. It's a hidden gem in my opinion. Yeah, it's a hidden gem in my opinion. It's something that once things start to bootstrap on top of it, we could really see some neat growth.
Nice. I'll have to write that down and get stuck in. This is a big one. Do you want to take this from Morphic?
Sure. Morphic is always working on 5.0. That's like the first 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 links are all different things that he's reviewed or pulled or commented on in terms of the 5.0 upgrade. Looks like he's also working continuously to improve the AppKit. So we have a new version that's been released. Then it looks like he has reviewed EIP 27 in terms of its implementation. He's reviewing the newest node version, which is 4.0.28, which is coming together on the back end. I know that Alex has enough things stacked up that, we'll probably go into the 4.0.3 something before he even has to start really looking at, new stuff, new things. He's been busy with EIP 27, so there have been some updates that have kind of been stacking, and I know that he wants to go through them relatively conservatively at about 3 new updates per client version, and hopefully he can dig himself out of the hole that he's in.
He loves it though.
Yeah, he does. He does.
And then just some MISC stuff. PRs in Sigma and AppKit minor improvements to ERP27, communication with devs, and then all of time costing towards 5.0. Is there a timeline for when 5.0 is sort of expected? Just
sure.
roughly?
The goal at this point, we have the EIP27 proposal that's basically been initiated on mainnet and is getting to the point of voting. Now, we are going to start seeing pools updating their nodes to reflect their vote. We've already started to see that. And so far, the vote really hasn't changed since the initial vote that happened in December. So it appears that there's going to be a 90% threshold support. And what will happen after EIP 27 goes either way is we're going to have another vote in terms of upgrading the costing model that we use on the node, and that will be another minor vote. So we will need
5.0.
Yeah, that's going to be a node upgrade. So we will need to, talk to miners and get support for that. But
for sure.
Based on the initial testing, better efficiency in terms of block space means more fees. So I don't think that's going to be something that miners are opposed to.
Well, that's their business model, or part of.
Exactly. That's just how they, put bread on their table. So it'll probably pass.
So another cool one, off to greenhat. He's merged some header and pre-header types. Refractored transaction context boxes for spending, and then started to submit data point operation in Oracle 2.0. So I've got absolutely zero knowledge of what any of that means.
Rust. Let's see. It looks like he's working on basically Oracle Pool 2's probably the biggest thing that we're pushing right now. Part of that's the hackathon. There are a couple of bounties that are out there, and we do have a couple of community bounty hunters that are pretty talented in Rust. I know that there are wishes, let's use that, that by the end of this ErgoHack event, we'll see, some early version of Oracle V2 put together. We'll see how things progress. But that's something that once that core build is done, we already have a group of people out there that participated in the last ErgoHack, which was the Delphi group, which is community Oracle operators that are ready to plug that in. So it's going to be exciting to see how that works. A lot of what we're building is just foundational. And once you have a solid foundation, then you can really build neat stuff on top of it. So I'm excited to see how things progress there.
Yeah, and one of the suggestions for the ErgoHack as well was to people to spin up some pools as well. So maybe people get some tutorials and things running for that.
Yeah, and maybe we start to see that on a Pi or something,
It's good fun, actually, messing around with the Pis. A non-BR, Ledger. So he's got 0.1.1 released. Worked closely with the wallet devs on API stabilization, and then added a tutorial on how to sideload the Ledger onto the Nano S, I believe, and then just finishing up some API documentation. So we've seen a video of someone with lovely nails signing a transaction through Nautilus on the Ledger. I think the community's hanging for this, actually.
It's in motion. I know that there's a couple of minor improvements that they're playing with in terms of space, in terms of documentation, and then ultimately they're going to push that to Ledger Live. Once that is pulled into Ledger Live and approved, then it's going to work across devices and across operating systems. The Nano S specifically was used because you can sideload custom software onto it, versus the Nano X does not have that capability. So if we had some people that were worried when they saw that testing was only for the Nano S, but it's just because you can't sideload custom stuff. You need Ledger Live support.
Yeah. I myself have one of the X's, so I've got plenty of X's. Yeah, I've got the Nano X, so yeah, I can't contribute to the beta testing actually. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that, but yeah, it'll get around to me.
It'll get there. It's once it's pushed to Ledger Live, then I hope that we'll see that soon. And that's hard to predict sometimes in the crypto space. One thing that we get bothered a lot about from the community is saying, hey, some exchanges pull from CoinMarketCap, and we've been trying to bother them for a year. Like it's like, hey, don't forget about us. You need to update some stuff, and just brutal. So we're trying to work with exchanges now to get exchanges to poke CoinMarketCap. And if you're from CoinMarketCap, please answer your goddamn emails.
It's pretty funny, actually. We provided them with the API and the actual Explorer as well. So like the source of truth for block height for circulation supply, and they go, no, we're happy with our sort of internal audit of it. So it's like,
sometimes we get stuck in like the bureaucracy and busyness of things, but hopefully we get pulled into Ledger Live quickly.
Yeah, for sure. So Kushti, as we touched on earlier, he's reviewing the PRs for 4.0.28. Investigated an issue with the stuck nodes, and he found a likely cause. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Sure. There was a minor bug that we have a bounty on, and Pragmaxim's already in the process of patching it. So we had a couple of nodes in the network that just tripped up, got stuck, and we're trying to we've already kind of done the postmortem, and so patch is going to be pushed.
Yep, sweet. Investigated reported issues during rescans in 4.0.27 caused by 2 competing rescans. Does that have something to do with the bug?
I don't believe so.
Right.
I don't believe so.
And then helping take a Taito with failing tests in whatever that issue is. I'm not too sure with that one. I'll have to have a look at it.
Yeah, I'd have to open the GitHub. I don't have it in front of me.
EIP27, he's reviewed and merged text corrections, reviewing feedback pull requests, and reviewing the PRs with some improvements for implementation. Once again, have to dig into that one as well. And then Dexy has made a review of for the EIP, going to submit another review for the PR and going to make a dedicated repo for Dexy. So I wonder if someone's going to pick that up for ErgoHack.
We'll see. I mean, once that code is live, it's always a potential. I'm really curious to see how it works, because Dexy is not meant to be a stable coin. Then in the sense of it doesn't have a peg, and unfortunately with this whole USD or UST. Wrong letter. UST nonsense. Yeah, UST. Well, not anymore. Not the same thing. That's the problem. Now after this, you have legislators that are, sniffing in this direction. So, we may need to get creative in terms of what the industry pegs to. We may need to have frameworks that are not set to a precise peg. Who knows? Maybe we're going to get the 99-cent coin. And say it's not $1, it's an homage to the 99-cent store. We'll see.
Prove otherwise.
Yeah, who knows? But that's something that as an industry we just have to keep our eye on, because the goal is to be decentralized, and permissionless and resilient. So sometimes that may mean we need to engineer things in a way that's not only secure but kind of avoids it's the scrutiny that can come from let's just say people that want to try to control the network.
And the sad thing is actually that it didn't take them long, or the regulators and the Fed, to get stuck into these guys and use this as ammo in regards to regulation and bits and pieces.
Well, I think that's already been in discussion and probably already been under draft. It's just a matter of you have an opening. And, the first rule of politics, never not take advantage of a good crisis, right?
Exactly.
So it is what it is.
Yeah. Onto Ilya from Sigma Valley. This is one of his little tutorials actually for that is put forward for ErgoHack. It's just one of the pin lock contract examples that he's running through Java. So he's got a little video up on Twitter actually. So it's fun to watch, interacting with that one. Then just a little question from Morphic. Any idea when Ledger app will be officially supported? So we touched on that one.
Yeah, it's, I wish this is a soon situation. And a lot of the times what soon means is it's like, I'm not the one that has the ability to control the release date. That's an external dependency, unfortunately. So, we've got the build. We'll push it to them and hopefully bother them, within reason, and get that out to the community.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of those thorns in our sides at the moment, I think.
It really is. It's been painful.
Yeah. On to Ladopixel, who's been playing with Python and Telegram bots. And then creating a tutorial actually for the installation of the node. So I'm sure we'll see that one up on ergotutorials.com.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite websites in the ecosystem, just because it's a place where retail can get a basic understanding of how to use infrastructure. And that's huge for newcomers into the space. I hope that we get some new nodes from users that are curious to at least play with it, not even if they continually commit to running it. And who knows, maybe we'll get some Raspberry Pi tutorials long term. That would be sweet. Especially when you get that in multiple languages, it just broadens the access.
Yeah, exactly, and it helps the protocol as well. Anon 2020 is getting stuck into the mixer schemes. Do you want to cover this one?
Sure. So we have the existing mixer scheme, zero join. There's been some research and a paper by Scala Hub that's in development called Sigma Join, which is going to have a slightly different variation of mixing, which actually is pretty exciting once we start looking into it. Looks like he's made some modifications to the new mixing scheme to basically create a newer version of the mixer. It looks like that's in development. So we'll have the original OG Ergo mixer, and then, who knows, Ergo Mixer Classic, or I don't know what they're going to name it. No idea. So it looks like he's working with Scala Hub and MHS to finalize the scheme and start the actual implementation of that DApp. And since the profit sharing aspect, which we covered earlier, is available, he's working on the tokenomics of this new scheme to try to plug the two together. It's going to depend on some sort of fee mechanism. Looks like they are going to create a mixing token that's called FEMX, probably for the fee to mix, I imagine. But
no idea.
I don't know if there's like a deeper story, so I'm just gonna lie to everybody and say I think fee mix, like 80% sure. The airdrop that he originally talked about, a couple of months ago, is kind of in motion. So, hopefully our network doesn't get noodled again like it did in the past, but we see a nice distribution of new tokens that are going to have infrastructure supporting, their use.
Yeah. Or, literally noodled. Migarang.
Yeah, yeah. Wild day.
Dossing exchange nodes with noodle coins. Only in crypto.
Yeah, it's funny. A lot of people blamed the core team, and we're like, nobody even knew. We're like the ones that are like, help, KuCoin's offline, and there's an issue, and it's like, oh my goodness. They get blamed for.
It makes you laugh. God, it cracks me up. So Dmitry's had some holidays, just working on sigmaverse as well. So that hopefully that helps out Noah with an admin panel, being able to add and edit submissions on sigmaverse, I imagine. The new website, he's been helping out on that a lot as well. So thank you for that. And then ErgoPanel started the second test. I'm not too sure what ErgoPanel is. I haven't heard that one before. What's that?
I believe it's going to be somewhat. What is that DApp called? There's a community DApp out there that kind of checks to see if things are live or not, if infrastructure is live or not. I can't remember.
Is it the spider? Node spider?
No, it's not
the Sigma status or something along
yeah, something along that line. It looks like this is going to be kind of a sync, a viewable sync aspect between the Explorer and other infrastructure.
Down on to Hailypdll with Safe Wallet 0.6.0 has ledger support and it's available on GitHub. And then just waiting for validation for that one on the Chrome store. So anyone wanting to jump on there and test that out, by all means, get on there. Still an issue when registers are set in outputs, so they're under investigation, but you can send erg and tokens and use most of the time signing with the ledger. And then MrStahlfelge then obviously, can you elaborate on most? So yeah, the dApps that do not require to set a register in the output boxes of the transaction signed by the ledger. So for example, ErgoDex, you can sign transactions. Here we go. Our favorite name. Yeah, you can take it.
Sure. Looks like GetBlok released their beta version of the UI. I think we talked about that last week, but it's pretty nice. If you haven't seen it, take a look. I really like what they're doing in terms of supporting community mining tools. So every week I say, if a mining pool shows up in the developer update, I'm going to encourage users to mine to that pool. Hopefully that encourages the larger pools to, basically invest in the network that they claim to support. Looks like the SubPooling framework is almost complete, and they're playing around with payments of that on testnet. Looks like they're fully parameterized, and they will be implementing user-made subpools easier in the future, which is pretty cool. So, those of you that don't know or understand what that means is, let's say that CW and I decide we're going to create our own pool, and instead of mining solo, we're going to merge, hash power and, double our odds potentially of hitting a block. We have the ability to do that. So it's kind of like community-based mining pools, which is a really neat concept. And even that long term, it could be interesting to see, like, let's say you started a mining pool and you said, okay, well, I want to create my own little sub community around that. Maybe you could use that as a way to incentivize new miners to come and, plug into your sub pool. So kind of a neat, like, community tool for miners, which is kind of unique. I'm really curious to see how it develops, not only on like the technological side, but potentially the social side as well.
And then the tokenomics comes into play as well, potentially being able to mine other tokens.
Yep. And then they're still working on Plasma, which looks like they've done the abstraction and they've come up with a couple of different constructions, but mostly theoretical. They're working on an algorithm to prove the validity of batch shares stored in the Merkle or AVL tree. So, that's a big lift, but if they can, figure that out long term, that's going to be huge for them.
Yeah. Kushti keeps showing some interest in that Plasma side as well for scaling.
Well, it's funny in a way. Most people think of like scaling to layer 2 and the type of throughput on top of the network, but it's actually kind of entertaining to me that the first implementation is going to come from a mining pool of all things.
Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
LowKeyNerd, Blitz TCG. I've got to admit, these guys have some pretty cool artwork going on at the moment. They've run a competition for a number of artists to submit proposal to go on their playing card game, and there's some pretty cool artwork out there. So if you want to check that one out, head over to their Twitter account. So they found a website dev, and then proper game dev has started as well. So that's interesting, getting that sorted.
Yeah. Looks like their team's coming together. I'm happy to see that.
Yeah, it's great to see. I'm actually looking forward to that personally. Just it's something different, something that's sort of out of the box. Be interesting to see.
Yeah, I'm gonna look into it when it comes out.
So Marty,
and it looks like, and Marty. Looks like Marty is recommending a UX developer that worked on Paideia. That's one nice thing about coming into the Ergo ecosystem is that we are a very much proof of work oriented community, to where if you come in and you demonstrate the quality and the proof of your work, we'll keep you busy, or at least try.
Yes, there's never-ending amount of work, it seems. So there's enough projects and community devs plus core development work, like you touched on earlier with the bounties and things. There's numerous amounts of work. So Keith with ErgoLend, working on the back end, did a bit of migration and modularization for future engineering and scalability. Started the contracts for single lender tokens, created so that their token, they're going to call it EXLE. So just the improvement proposals on GitHub, deployed migrated changes, the front end marketing page close to being done. Then upcoming for the back end, integrating Redis for caching, Dockerizing the app, improving performance for chain transactions, and then design and implement the My Loans loan details with photos, sponsor groups for uncollateralized lending. So that's basically pulling it all together on the front end side.
Yep.
Pragmaxime.
Pragmaxime is somebody that does a lot of node improvements with Alex. Looks like he has been bug hunting and has caught 2 things that have already been fixed. I know that Alex brought up the nodes that were getting stuck, and I know that Pragmaxime is on it, so got pretty high confidence in that being sorted out.
And just a quick update from AnonBR as well, just in regards to Morphic's question about when the app will be officially supported. So the Tesseract team is trying to increase the maximum number of distinct token support. So currently we only have 6 per transaction. And then we're good to submit it for review and publish. So Tesseract estimates that to take a couple of weeks. So fingers crossed.
Yep. Fingers crossed.
And then last one, Captain Nemo. You want to take Captain Nemo?
Sure. The Ledger beta testing has been successful. Issues basically have been found and addressed with the transporter in Chrome. So that means that it will support the Chrome build. And it looks like they've been testing all kinds of different transaction scenarios, and everything seems to be working fine. And as I said kind of in the beginning, Nemo is working with a GraphQL server on top of the current Explorer database. So hopefully we see that and it becomes kind of easy to use. And so new dApp developers in our ecosystem can pick up that Explorer and customize the calls to the needs of their application. And then it will kind of hopefully decentralize and remove the public Explorer dependency that sometimes we run into.
Yeah, most definitely. So I think that's everything wrapped up for another weekly developer update. Is there anything you want to finalize? Yeah. Any final words?
I'm excited to see how things progress in ErgoHack. We tend to have a pretty loose rule set. So I'm sure that if anybody has an idea out there that wants to join late or wants to join a team in our ecosystem, even though things have kicked off, extra hands, extra ideas are always welcome. So those of you out there that might be interested, feel free to hop on.
Yeah, I recall one questionable proposal that was being discussed in the community that I don't think we can discuss here. So
we always kind of get that. Nothing can be done.
Yeah,
if we are an open ecosystem, and so we do try to encourage people to join, interact, and sometimes we get some strange characters, but that's what can you do?
Yeah, no, by all means, hope everyone gets off to the ErgoHack and everyone has fruitful endeavors there. I think we've got 16 teams, I think it is now.
Yeah, 16, 17 teams. And, really, if you're someone out there that's just, kind of been stressed about the latest issues in the market, feel free to plug into the real world for a little bit, and hopefully disconnect from some of the stress of the space because, it's one of those things, it's external dependencies that are larger than what you can control. So hopefully you've managed your risks and, you're, not in a compromised position, but this industry does have like the meme, I've been here for a year and then the guy's like 170 years old, right? And this is one of those weeks that tends to accelerate that. So take care of yourselves.
Get outside, see the sunshine, just get away and take a break. It's pretty mentally draining. So look after yourself.
Yeah.
All right, guys, take care. Thanks for watching another weekly developer update. Have a good one.